Yeah, baby, we're back.
Yes, this is, like we've mentioned, long overdue. We're so happy to have our next guest on the show.
Absolutely, guys. You most likely follow her on Instagram, okay? She's not just a soccer blogger. She's played for the Colombian national team. Oh, my God. We're so happy to have her in studio. Unless you're driving, put your hands together for the one, the only, Melissa Ortiz.
Buenas.
Come on.
Hey.
There she is.
Thank you.
I felt like you had to drop bars. Yeah.
I know.
No, welcome to the show. Yeah, we've, like I think several people heard about you through Instagram because I remember seeing you on just doing tricks. That was the main thing. I'm like, she's good at soccer. And I look her up and I'm like, oh, she played for the Colombian national team.
Okay.
You were in, what, Miami or in Florida? Where in
I
Florida?
was living in West Palm Beach.
You were
West
Palm
Palm Beach.
Actually born and raised in West Palm Beach.
Okay. So,
And I know you're not Cuban because you would have pronounced it West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach.
Palm Beach. There is like a Cuban community in West Palm Beach that says West Palm Beach.
Oh, yeah, you heard? He moved to West Palm Beach.
I feel like every time when I hear my dad try to speak English, I just get embarrassed. Like that's why here in West Palm Beach, that's how
You just like you shrink into your own.
Please
skin.
stop it, Dad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, vamos para West Palm Beach. It's perfect. I'm like
Está
that.
cerca,
I was like that.
Miami.
Yeah.
Está
That's how it
cerca.
should be pronounced. I don't know where everyone's got the S and the T. In there.
It sounds like Wepa Beach.
Yeah. Which is a much more lit beach than it really is.
The best is on my national team when they used to fly me from Fort Lauderdale to Bogota. My coach would be like, "Where's your?" Not even. What am I saying in English? They'd be like, you know, ¿a dónde? ¿A qué aeropuerto? And they'd be like, "Fort Lauderdale."
Yeah.
I'm like, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, dude,
Fort
you're-
Lauderdale.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale.
Esto americano habla
It sounds
inglés.
like somebody yodeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Ricola commercial. Fort Lauderdale.
Dude, it should be on the next Spirit commercial.
100%.
So, Melissa,
The reason we brought you here is not just talk about how Latinos pronounce things. We've covered that.
welcome to the show. You are here with your mate, which
Cheers.
is great. Cheers to that. We have a video coming soon with Maxi. That's gonna be Maxi Hurute is coming out soon.
He showed us how to have mate. First time you ever had mate.
That's right.
Yeah, it was
was-
exciting times.
It was lovely.
is.
But you are here because we are huge fans of just what you do, because I know you did play soccer professionally, and you are now going into sort of the route. A lot of people, former players, tend to do this, right? Because, and some are better at it than others, I may say.
Yeah.
And you're one of the ones that are better at it,
Oh
right?
my God, thank you. Oh,
But you,
Jesus, you made me sweat right there.
Yeah, you never know. And how does it feel to suck?
Yeah.
Talk to us.
there are some people. Look, we've met people in soccer and who played, and some people are like obsessively focused on the game exclusively and never learned to like develop a personality while they were also doing that.
Right.
And you are very personable and fun and really cool to watch, and you do things to not only just entertain, but to kind of like inform. And coming from your perspective, Colombiana, you did live in New York for a little bit, right?
No, my parents actually, when they immigrated from Colombia, lived here.
Oh, okay.
They
okay.
they met here.
Okay, cool.
Fell in love and they moved to Florida.
Got it.
So I have New York roots, like Colombia, New York.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
I'm glad you said that your parents fell in love. I'm like, your parents love each other? That's pretty
I know,
cool.
right?
Wow, la-di-da.
They're still together.
Wow. All right, that's it. Mom, Dad, you're going to West Palm Beach. I don't know what's in the water out there.
Seriously.
So what has kind of inspired you to go in that route and be in like the more creative route?
Right. Gosh, I think it came to a point where I'm like, all right, my knees are hurting.
Okay.
So I knew soccer one day wasn't going to go past a certain age. Also, the paycheck sucks. So
Sure.
it came to a point where I was like, I need to find something that I want to do and I love and it makes me happy. After I stopped playing soccer, more because of economic reasons and because of lack of respect and all that. That's another story.
Sure.
Yeah. Some of that
I
comes
s-
with it.
Yeah, I started
unfortunately.
working for my family business in West Palm, and as much as I, love my family, have a great business, it just wasn't me because it wasn't in soccer.
Right.
So I wanted to get more involved.
What they do, if you don't mind me asking?
They repair. They used to sell as well, but it's more repair BMWs, Mercedes,
Okay.
like all European cars. It's a
Yeah.
really, really cool repair center, high end, boutique like in West Palm Beach.
Yeah, West Palm Beach.
Yeah,
We will never need that. We're two comedians who have a soccer podcast. Does you know how to fix a rented Kia that I don't want to pay a fine for? Only joking.
Yeah, but they've been in business for 35 years,
That's
so
awesome.
it's awesome, and run by my parents since then, so it's great. My eldest brother's in it too, so they were like, Melissa, do the marketing. You know, that was my major in college.
Yeah.
But it wasn't me, you know. So I figured out if I really want to do something, I got to do it myself. I probably sent, a resume a week to tons of companies, and it's either a rejection letter or no letter. And I'm thinking, what the am I
Oh,
doing
you
wrong?
could curse here, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a podcast.
I'm like, I have an MBA, like Olympic athlete, like I'm pretty good at what I do. And I was applying for like soccer marketing jobs or whatever. And it just wasn't happening. I don't know if it was because I was from a smaller school or, you know, the networking thing.
Right,
I
sure.
just moved back to the USA too. So I was like, well, I listened to some podcast, Gary Vee, obviously, and I was like, I'm going to do it myself. So just one day went like this, like snapped in my head, start the soccer blogger. I was like, you know what? I have this saying in my head, if like I'm nervous about taking a step outside of my box, and it's always been like this throughout my soccer career. It's just like, fuck everyone,
Yeah.
do you know? That's always just kind of been
If you're
my
afraid
mentality.
of it, it's probably the right thing to do.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
the best idea, yeah.
Yeah, so that's always my mentality of something's like it's out of the comfort zone. you
Yeah,
know?
Yeah.
So I started it and started making these videos, and it's been going pretty cool. It's gotten me opportunities to work with large companies, such as like Alcatel, BMW, Casper Mattress. I don't know, like a bunch of random things.
Yeah, one day you step in an elevator with us. I think this was at MLS
All-Star?
Cup.
in Atlanta.
In Atlanta,
Yeah.
that was All Star.
And
Yeah.
you're just like head to you look like a NASCAR. You're head to toe in Alcatel. And I was like, I guess you're working. Either that or I feel like you heavily matched. Yeah.
Or I just really love Alcatel.
Yeah. I believe the first time we ever met was in Atlanta.
It was, yeah.
Previous. You came up to us and said hello, and I looked at you like, "Who are you?" And then you
Yeah.
said your name, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
dude!" In all your videos, you're like in workout gear, doing tricks
yeah.
and poses, and you're like in a full-on dress. I was like, "I don't know who you are. Get away from me, lady!" And then you said your name. I was like, "Really? Oh my god! I'm sorry. I'm just used to you looking like a supreme athlete." You know?
Yeah, true,
It was
true.
so funny. I was like, "Oh my god, that's right. You have a life. You're not just on Instagram,
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't just live inside that little square."
So let's talk about your career a little bit and your rise. Just there's a couple interesting things that I found fascinating about your career. But you did mention an Olympian. How does a girl living in Florida end up playing for the Colombian national team?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of dual nationals that play.
Yeah,
for,
yeah, of course.
You know.
Yeah.
So my parents are both from Colombia. They immigrated here 40 years ago. And when I was in college, I was scouted by this coach who knew the former Colombian coach.
Wow.
Okay.
And so he knew I was a dual citizen. I've been Colombian American since I was little. And so he asked me, do you want to go try out for the Colombian national team? And I was like, hell yeah. But to be honest with you, like being a soccer player was never my goal in life. Like
Yeah.
seriously, especially
Really?
like as a Latina female, there wasn't like that figure to look up to. You know, you had your Mia Hamm growing up in the States.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Right.
Brandy Chastain. But for me, like I had my heart set on being an architect, and I got accepted here to Pratt Institute of Design, and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
gonna come my senior. Like I already knew my senior year I was gonna come to New York, and then it just so happened that I got this scholarship, really great scholarship to play soccer because I had quit travel to become an architect, pretty much.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I was pretty focused on my studies and everything.
I'm so sorry soccer stopped you from your dreams.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Soccer stopped me from being in the studio
Yeah.
for 25 hours.
You would have hated it.
No crap. I know.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, I'm also like I didn't realize Melissa was such a damn nerd. Look at this.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to bully her for some
Well,
reason.
she said I have an MBA. I'm like, I got
Yeah.
MBA. I got MBA hats too. I got a couple Knicks hats. I don't understand what's so impressive about it. So impressive.
No, that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, my freshman year of college, I realized that I was really talented, and I fell back in love with the game. And I was like, wow, if this tryout just comes and I ball it, like what can happen? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know Colombia had a freaking national team when I was in high school. to be
Yeah,
honest.
that's
there wasn't
insane.
like Instagram back then to show us all these like crazy ass highlights
Uh-huh.
you
Yeah,
know,
of
from all
course.
over the world. So I did it. I missed my half of my second semester of college, went down, made the pool, whatever. The next year I played in the U20 Women's World
so
Cup.
dope.
And then from there on stayed with the national team. So it's been
That's-
quite a ride.
What is that experience like with getting there? Were they like with Eta Americana and all this kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
absolutely. La gringa, ¿quién es
Yeah,
esta
yeah.
gringa? You know,
Uh-huh.
it's always going to be like that. Even girls now who even write me sometimes like, hey, how can I get to the Colombian national team? Like, I'll be like, do you speak Spanish? You know,
Yeah.
like,
This
how
feels
good,
important.
How good is your salsa?
Yeah.
There's tests for both.
Yeah.
So like the
As soon as you walk in, they're gonna throw on cumbia. You gotta.
you walk into the locker room, you're like,
Okay, all right.
But she didn't make a coffee while she danced, so you're off the team. Okay. Back to West Palm Beach.
so yeah, it was challenging at first. I'm not gonna lie. Like they all were like, "Who is this girl?" And of course, I speak Spanish, but I don't speak like I was born and raised there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, like anyone that was born and raised outside of their country. So it
And
was a challenge.
that's not even like, I think it's hard for people who don't speak Spanish to understand. Even if you speak Spanish every day of your life, if you're not there, you sound a little different to them.
yeah.
It's like a British guy who moves to the U.S. and 6 months later, his friends in England are like, your accent, you're American. To us, we're like, no, he's not.
Absolutely.
He sounds wild British. But to his friends, it's like you lose a little something.
Yeah.
So it always sticks. You always stick out.
Whenever I go to Dominican Republic, my Spanish, because I learned Spanish in school in New York, and so it's very proper. So whenever I go to Dominican Republic, I'm like not using any of the slang words that anybody's using. I'm like, I gotta stop. I gotta tap my cousin. I'm like, what's that mean? What's that mean? I'm like, I speak the language, but this is not the language.
And then you're like, what did I just agree to?
Happens all the time. I can imagine there is that pressure, and then on a professional level, like, are your teammates like almost? Do they like are they frustrated that there's like an American that could possibly take their spot? Like it's worse for them.
So I would say 10 years ago, yes, because we were all super young. Like I got there when I was 19. All the girls were like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. All young, didn't really know many girls from outside of Colombia. You know, I think what helped me, and I didn't really have like a huge challenge. Like at first, you have to break some barriers. Yeah. But what helped me was my personality. Seriously, like I was like raised in such a Colombian culture where like if they had a song in the locker room, I'd be like, oh yeah, and I would like start dancing and singing, and like I wasn't scared to dance because I love dancing. So like I just kind of made my way in and made friends really quickly. But I have seen girls like come from the U.S. to Colombia, and they've struggled, and some have left, seriously, and left crying, like because they couldn't get like fit in, and they don't make it easy for you. That's fair.
Fans, I think it's so hard for fans to assume that the locker room is a hurdle, and it is. It's a big part of it. It's almost like the politics of being inside a team. You have to be the one that people like to some degree. And if you're not, you better be amazing.
Yeah. You better be fucking messy.
Yeah. If you an asshole, you better like make it where we're like, all right, we're gonna allow you to be this way.
Yeah. Seriously.
Where was when you first got there and you did go went to try out? What city in Colombia?
Bogota.
In Bogota. Okay.
Which, by the way, is oh my God, you need like 10 extra lungs. It was
oh yeah,
the hills?
It's high up. Yeah, it's a high mountain.
It's 2,600 meters above sea level. That's like double, triple Denver or something like that.
Okay.
Dog, I'd die on one of those stairs.
I was in West Palm Beach.
The flattest place on earth. Yo, like I was in San Francisco, and one of the sidewalks is stairs. That's how steep it is. It's carved into stairs. And I was like, why did all of you stay here? Why didn't we leave as a society? Well, I saw somebody riding a bike. I'm like, how do you ride that thing back home?
Yeah, seriously.
I'd just go downhill. There'd be a pile of bikes at the bottom of the hill. Those are all yours now.
I feel like you just say that about anybody riding a bike or doing any exercise. Like, how do you do that?
So you're gonna run in that machine and not go anywhere? Seems weird to me, bro. Might want to straighten your life out. So let's talk a little bit about like sort of what your career is now. You're sort of like, I hate to use the term influencer, but that's kind of exactly what you are, right?
Yeah.
You're a personality, and which is huge because I think Christian brought it up before. We meet some people sometimes that are big on Instagram, and they don't always have the personality followed up. You're someone who can host and do stuff like that. Why does it seem like it's so important, especially for women in the sport of soccer, to also have like a pop-in Instagram account, or else you can't make it a viable career?
Yeah, it's crazy how life has changed so much, especially in the media world. I mean, a few years ago, before Instagram was the thing on your cell phone, I was like, how can I get into the media world? And I started doing internships in Colombia with like different big networks. But I didn't realize that I had the most important tool right here in my hand.
In your pocket,
Yeah,
just sitting there.
Seriously. And it's important for females because you can literally show the world or your however many followers that this is who you are. You could be yourself, and you're kind of also, you're selling your own stuff. You're selling your brand, you yourself are your own brand. So as much as companies like you, and you could show that you're knowledgeable about whatever you're doing, whatever it's a food blogger, fashion blogger, soccer blogger, whatever. Yeah. As long as you're knowledgeable about it, you're good at it, you love it, and you show that you're passionate about it, you'll attract such a good fan base.
Yeah, and it seems like it gives
I want to start a food blog. It's gonna be very empty.
Sad.
It's gonna be very sad. It's just gonna be like, just don't eat that if you want to be as thin as me.
Here's another photo of something I didn't eat. Welcome to Christian Polanco's. It's all photos he takes from my Instagram account of stuff I did eat.
You guys should start a food blog though.
Oh my God.
No, like
half of it would be amazing.
Real
and the other
news.
half would be
Real news.
Christians.
I legit like messaged them like 2 weeks ago. My parents were in town. I was like, yo, give me like top 10 pizza places in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, I got you.
Now, shoot. And you did.
Yeah.
And we went to Don Antonio's and it was the bomb. Seriously.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
freaking good.
Shouts to Don Antonio.
Yeah, Alexis. Yeah, he
Did you
knows.
get the fried one? The Montanara?
No.
Okay, that's always the big hurdle for people, just to get
Okay.
that. It's incredible, though.
Yeah.
You can never impress Alexis. You go to the place that he says, and you're like, oh, you didn't get the thing I said you should get. Okay, well,
I know.
Okay.
I think I gave you like 4 things to get there.
You
I think I said
did.
4 things,
Yeah,
and I go,
you
look,
did.
you're not gonna want to order because it's fried, and you care about how you look, right? And you know
That's where you and I
know,
differ.
right.
We had a wedding that week and I was
Right.
like, yo, how many fins is
Who
rice?
gives a shit? But we got tailors for a reason.
He's like, down 4 pizzas. We have to go down the
I know.
aisle
I
to
was like, how many is
bridesmaids.
it of you? 4 of you? All right, there's 7 pizzas you need to order. But whatever. But the fried one is a big hurdle for people, but it
Yeah.
does taste great.
So you're going back to your career. You did play in the Olympics, but you played in the U20 World Cup.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Did you get a chance to? You didn't get a chance to play in the Senior World Cup, but you did.
I was about to.
You was
so,
about to,
yeah.
and so then this is what happened. You got injured
Yeah.
in training.
Yeah.
Before. So I'm curious. We've spoken to a couple people that look, it's part of the game and it's
Yeah.
incredibly unfortunate. But how did you feel? And I know obviously heartbreak without a doubt. But how do you feel? How do you feel then? And how do you feel now about that experience? What did it teach you?
Oh my God. At the moment, I wanted to jump off a cliff.
Yeah.
Seriously, it was the worst thing I could ever imagine. Like, I don't wish that upon anyone.
Yeah.
Was
Literally.
it an injury that just happened, or did someone like slide tackle you?
No, I mean, it's probably a better thing that I did it myself, because if someone would have knocked me out of the World Cup, I would have I would have murdered
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I would have murdered you.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
Yeah. I'm like, knife.
Yeah, I know. You carry that also?
It's New York.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Yeah. So 4 days before the World Cup, we were on our way up. Already made the final roster. We're going to Canada. We stopped in Colorado to play against Costa Rica, and we played against like a few club teams. And it was against one of those damn club teams that we're going over like tactics, just like on and off playing.
Yeah.
And it was within the first 20 minutes that I took a step back. And if you YouTube how David Beckham tore his Achilles, it's legit how I did it.
Okay.
Yeah, he probably just has more views on YouTube.
Yeah. Still tired.
A couple more.
Yeah.
Your abs are better, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, so that sucked. I mean, God, I was speechless from there. Like, I had to get surgery right away. Flew me to Florida the day that my teammates flew up to Canada. And it was depressing. Like, literally,
yeah.
I hit rock bottom. Never knew I could feel anything like that before in my life.
It's just crazy.
So thankfully, like, my family, they flew to Colorado, brought me back to Florida, went through the whole rehab thing. And I mean, if it wasn't for my family, I don't know what I've done. Seriously.
Yeah, because you
so supportive.
you could probably very easily fall into why me
Absolutely.
in that moment, and
Yeah.
having
And you do. You like all these things going through your mind.
it guaranteed it goes through.
Yeah.
In the moment you step back, you knew you were done.
No, and I wasn't done yet. No.
No, you were done for the World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
You
yeah,
knew as soon as
yeah,
that Achilles.
Yeah. So what happened was I was playing outside left back. I received the ball. I took a step, like I controlled it, took a step, and when I went to go pass it, in that step back, my Achilles just popped, right? But I thought it was a forward coming on, and like I thought she slid tackled me.
Yeah.
So there I was, like I felt that, and then I looked at the ref. I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like that, and
Yeah,
he looked at me like I have like 8 heads.
You're like, give her a red card.
Yeah.
He gives a red card to your Achilles. Like, I don't know. What am I
Achilles
doing?
is, like, on the floor. And so I realized it was just like me, and then my foot went numb. My like leg felt like this weird ass tingle, and I went to the floor, and I'm confused. I don't know if I just broke my leg. I don't know what the hell I just did. And as soon as I felt the back of my foot, like there's this huge hole. Sorry if I'm making you throw up, whoever's listening. Yeah, I knew it right then and there. And like the trainer rushed onto the field, the doctor rushed on the field, and the trainer was like, "Oh, you'll be good." And I'm like, "No, I won't be." Like, I just
Yeah, is
tore
my mother your trainer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sana
Yeah,
culita
yeah,
rana.
yeah.
I'm like, that's just not working today.
Camina un poco, coño.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, that happened. And my recovery was like 8 months to a year. But
Yeah,
and during the time, it did teach me a lot about life. Like, as much as it sucked, it was the only tournament left on my bucket list to ever accomplish, like as a professional soccer player.
Yeah.
I started my own business that year. I met my boyfriend, who I've been with for 3 years. I actually met him the week I was back in Florida in crutches. Well, let's just
Wow.
say I met him when I was in my scooter. How sexy is that?
Not bad.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, who's rolling past me? Who's this
Damn,
beautiful
girl.
lady rolling past?
He, like,
You see me rolling.
Wait, that's the song he literally tells me. Like when we met, he's like, "You see me rolling." Yeah, so that happened. Met him. He moved from Puerto Rico that same week for a job to West Palm Beach.
Nice.
And I was down to West Palm Beach for my
So
recovery.
it's kismet. You know,
Yeah.
it sucks you couldn't go to the World Cup, but look,
Yeah.
it all worked out.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
you did get to play in the Olympics.
I did.
And
Mhm.
what was that experience like?
So 2012 Olympics, first experience for us, as we're the first women's national team in history of Colombia to go to the Olympics.
Oh, okay,
So it was
awesome.
really cool for us. We didn't reach out of our group, unfortunately, but we were all, I was like 22. All the girls were like 20, 21, 22. We were super young. Such a great experience, though. We got to hang out in the village, like afterwards, like party it up, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
the whole
That's awesome.
Olympic experience, like compete, like train your ass off, go compete, cry because you lost, but then like go party and meet a bunch of athletes, like super cool.
Is it as lit in the village as they say it is? Is it
I
as
did-
wild?
That's what okay, I didn't get to experience that at that litness.
Right.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah.
I didn't. Like, yeah, we partied with some divers and some, because there's athletes still in competition when we were there.
And by
too.
divers, are you throwing shade at another soccer team, or is this? Or is this yeah,
The Brazilians?
Okay,
The
yeah. We played with some divers, the Brazilian women's national team. Okay,
Yeah. Good one.
you don't have to say that. Thank you. Don't ever come to a comedy show. That was funny.
I'm like the worst. I'm like, yeah, so we partied it up a few times. It was awesome.
What
It
was
fun.
how is the Colombian women's national team received in Colombia? As far as obviously the men's national team, I'm sure gets a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
But what was that experience for you? As far as I'm sure they showed a lot of love. I'm sure it was very inspirational to a lot of
Absolutely.
people, especially young girls. What was it like when you were in Colombia? Getting to experience that.
So one of the best experiences I tell everybody was when we got back from the U20 Women's World Cup. We made it to the semis. We lost in the semifinal to
Yeah.
Nigeria from one goal. It was rainy and it was a shitty goal.
Yeah.
But we made it to semis, and like we were such the underdog. Like,
Yeah.
no joke, we were such the underdog. And like back then, this is 2010. This is almost 10 years ago, and like women's soccer in Colombia was like, what's that? you know.
Yeah.
So when we got back to the airport, there was actual like a band. There was like bands there, like playing Huacharaca. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Wow.
this whole like recibimiento that we had going on. It was the coolest experience. We were like, wow, like we actually have somewhat of attention now.
Sometimes it's just knowing people care.
Yeah.
You know? It's not literally because you guys work so hard.
So hard.
And
yeah.
I think this is something that comes up a lot with when we talk to women's soccer. It's almost like they always feel like we're working so hard at something, and sometimes people view it as like, oh, it's like adjacent to the sport. And now that it's
Yeah.
getting so much more coverage and so much more respect, it's a beautiful thing. So for you to get off the airplane and be like,
that
"Look,
was so cool.
all right, this band
Yeah.
cares.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
Yeah.
when we got off the airplane, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was waiting for us. It was
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah, true.
She was holding up a sign. She was cool. She's Ubering apparently. It's very nice of her.
Would have been cool. She had a band with her.
Yeah,
though.
let me tell you something. Well, she was listening to something.
There you go. She
You
had it
never
on
know.
loudspeaker.
21 Savage, shows up.
So I'm curious about that. I was asking about how it was received, and I know
Yeah.
there was a story that I heard about it because you were talking about this campaign that you were starting that we'll talk more about. But the cause of it was because there was a Colombian, so he was a president of a Colombian team, Tolima, you said, right? Who made very ridiculous comments, and we. In general, we understand that women's soccer can be disrespected. We can see it, and on Twitter and whatever, and people are like, "Yo, you're a dinosaur. What's your problem?" But this almost took it a little farther. This
Right.
was like, not only was it dismissive, but it was like, "Oh, let me also insult women's sports in general."
Yeah.
Or the gay community.
Yeah,
or-
and
yeah.
Yeah, and it almost sounds like a joke from like the 80s or something. Like it's like, ugh.
Sure,
Yeah.
Like,
I
why
would say
would you-
farther than that. I feel like
But
people
that's
were
what
a
I
little
mean,
bit more
like, it just-
socially
Yeah.
conscious.
It just
even then.
seems like, where did that thought pop in your head?
Yeah.
So I'm going to paraphrase because who gives a shit about this guy? But the comment was basically he was asked about women's soccer in Colombia, and he did say that nobody cares about women's soccer. That it's just, I think he said it makes women lesbians or something along those lines, or something like it's just a bunch of lesbian women.
He said it was a cult of lesbianismo, a lesbian cult.
Yes.
And a bunch of drunks.
Which
And
sounds
a
really,
bunch of drunks.
As I have like vodka in my mouth.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, so
I'm gonna smell that thermos.
Yeah.
So when he said that, I saw several of your Instagram videos, and you were clearly angry at this, as anyone should be. But what did you think about that, and why did that inspire you to do what you then did?
Right. So women's soccer has finally kind of has a name for itself in Colombia. Started the professional league 2 years ago.
That's great.
Now, and I went down the first season because I just wanted to do that. Something we accomplished.
Of course.
But now they are saying like the season's supposed to start now. And now it's not starting for another 6 months because they're saying that, it's not generating revenue. They don't have the sponsors, but it's like they've had 6 months since last season to figure that whole thing out. It's one thing if it doesn't generate revenue. Okay, well then, create a system, at least plan. You've had 6 months to plan, or tell the press we're gonna not do the professional league.
Yeah.
So you have like a bunch of women on standstill on what to do.
Yeah.
So with this guy, that's the reason why they asked him, "What do you think about women's soccer?" Because he's the president of Tolima, which is the club. So that's why they asked him, "What do you think about women's soccer?" Well, and he like blatantly said that like it's a lesbian cult. They're a bunch of drunks, and he was referring to a recent video when Atlético Huila, which is a club from Colombia, won Copa Libertadores. So, like, for those who don't know, Copa Libertadores, obviously, Boca River, that just happened, all that
It's
stuff.
the Champions League of Latin
South
America.
Yeah. Well, they do it for women too, and it's based around like a 3-week tournament, and it's the top of each country.
Okay.
This is the first time in Colombian history that a Colombian team actually won the whole continental tournament.
Sure.
That's great.
Yeah, huge. Like the biggest news. Well, guess what? The federation doesn't give two shits that like the girls won. They don't even post on their social media like congratulations, Huila for winning Copa Libertadores. But of course, like a week later, when River won against Boca in the men's Libertadores, because Quintero scored the goal, they posted about Quintero. A player, but not a Colombian team.
Of course, yeah.
So things like that just really like
it's ridiculous.
Get me heated.
Yeah.
And
I mean, look, a lot of
respect.
people make this argument that women's soccer doesn't create a ton of revenue, but it's cause and effect. Are you
Exactly.
promoting it so that it does? There was a time when men's soccer didn't create revenue, and that's still here, and that's still in Colombia, and that's still everywhere. So,
but it's also
sometimes
it's a
you have to
social-
pump that up. You help it. You have to put money in to get money back out.
Absolutely. And it's also a social thing. Like, how many opportunities are being created for women in Colombia, for girls to get out of their barrios, to get out of their pueblos, to make, an impact, not even for their country, to play in a World Cup. A bunch of my teammates come from the smallest towns in Colombia, and now they are making money. They're getting sponsored. Just things like that are just opening so many doors for girls who need the help for their families,
Yeah.
So, this guy said that, and I right away started chatting with a teammate of mine who we see ourselves more as like a voice, me not being in Colombia anymore, being here, me being more mature as well now, not being scared to talk about these issues.
Yeah.
Not being scared to be kicked off the team anymore. Certain things like that we had to deal with for years.
You're free now.
Yeah, I'm just
you
like,
say whatever the hell
I
you
do the
want.
same thing. Like, fuck that. So.
I do that even when I shouldn't.
Yeah.
There's been times where Christian's like, hey, don't say anything in my head. I'm like, yo, I should say something. Yo, Christian's right. I should say something.
So, we started this campaign, and it was with the three, and we demanded more respect, an apology from him, and, of course, the league, like an answer about the league.
Sure.
So, and it really went viral. It was trending in Colombia, trending in Bogota. We got attention from major politicians in Colombia. Even one of the guy who ran for president at the last elections, Petro, he even tweeted about it, that his daughter's a goalie, blah, 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 information.
That's great.
Yeah, so it got a lot of attention, and this guy finally apologized, I think like a week ago. It took him like a month.
All right.
That's
I mean, he's
huge.
still garbage, but yeah.
Garbage,
Yeah,
yeah.
because how sincere is he really, right?
But
at least,
Of course.
his whatever probably wrote it up, tweeted it,
Of
whatever.
course.
But
Yeah,
it's
when the
just-
polls show the other way,
Yeah,
that's the way
yeah.
they go.
but that's
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's
But inspiring that change is all that matters.
Yes, it's inspiring the change. It's inspiring girls and like women in Colombia to speak up. You know,
Yeah.
here you see, you know, all these movements going on, and I see it because I live here.
Yeah.
In Colombia, it's just so challenging. There's so much domestic violence. There's
Yeah.
so much, you know, machismo. So
Well, that's sort of the dichotomy of like this, like the way people view or perceive Latina women, which is like they're so like headstrong and opinionated, and sometimes they're viewed as sassy and stuff. But it's also there's such a high level of machismo and there's such a high level of
Yeah.
misogyny in Latin America as well that counteracts that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you get animals like this dude who's like it's just a cult of. And you're
Yeah.
like Jesus.
well, it's like I talk about in my stand-up act. I talk about it as well. Like growing up in Latino just cultures, it's built in, right? That machismo, and you have to
Right.
kind of like unlearn it. Where there's clearly, I've been with like. I remember being a kid, like with my mom while she was like getting harassed on the street, and then I remember
Yeah.
like walking down the street with my dad while he was harassing women on the street. It's just like
Yeah.
it's really bad, man. It's
Yeah.
like, oh well, who's right? Why? Oh, I know who's
And
right.
you're like harass mom. Dad.
That's mom.
Makes all the
Her
sense.
focus.
She's right there.
Yo, I was in Cuba like a few months ago,
Uh-huh.
and with a taxista, he'd literally be with his windows rolled up, and we'd pass by a woman, he'd be like, like that. Every time he's like, oh yeah, mommy, like that, and I'm like,
you know what's funny?
"Holy
Like
shit."
it's still in my head. It's like, well, it's not that bad. Like that's still because you grow up with it,
Yeah.
and you realize, no, you shouldn't do that. And I guess because I'm married, I don't do it, so I don't view it as like, well, I'm if I did, I'd be a terrible person. Yeah, it's don't do it.
I don't do it because I'm too shy to do it. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's really. But
Well, you know that is what it is. It's like the guy who goes there, just walks up to a girl and talks to him. It's a sense of
Yeah.
like, well, look, I got the balls to do it.
yeah, because to me, I see
Yeah.
dudes like that, and I'm like, aren't you embarrassed a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit? Like,
Yeah.
that's insane
Yeah.
that you would
Yeah.
just go harass random people,
Yeah.
and like you don't care how you make them feel. That's like crazy to me.
The
Yeah.
the weirdest thing is when you see or hear someone honk at a girl walking by.
Yes, oh my
what do you
God.
think is gonna happen? You
Yeah,
just jump
yeah.
on the hood and rip her clothes
Yeah,
off.
like,
I'm so glad you
seriously.
pressed the button in your car.
Yeah.
I got 20 minutes before I gotta get to work.
Like what the? I hate when people honk. Seriously.
Yeah. I remember
it.
I was driving once and my buddy was in the car next to me and a attractive girl walked by and he hit the horn. Like he just hit the horn.
He reached over.
The death stare this girl gave me was just like that was enough. I'm like, if I got that once in my life to know never do it again.
You're never going back. I'm never going back, baby.
But no, I commend you for it because I know even sometimes people may feel like, oh, you know, I'm just making an Instagram video or whatever. Like even that takes some kind of bravery because you still have to take a backlash for that. Like
Yeah, you put yourself out there.
Oh yeah, you put yourself out there. You're bound to take risks. You're bound to get people to talk shit about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're bound, but you know you don't listen to those.
Do
things.
any of your like former teammates or friends like that? They're all very positive about what you're doing. A lot of them asking you
Yeah.
your advice.
Yeah, some of them.
That's great.
Yeah, one of my best friends, she's started to become an influencer as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I say, go for it. You know,
who
more
we
power
met,
to
right?
you.
Did we meet her at
Yeah.
Soccer Roof?
Mhm,
Okay,
yeah.
I forgot her. Isa.
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 Mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember.
Hey, Isa.
Hey, what's good?
What's up?
Yeah, she lives in Houston now. She moved from Medellin to Houston.
That's
so-
right. We did meet her over by the couches. Now I remember. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What are you people talking about?
Yeah, she's
very
cool. She's awesome. And then a few others. And I think my teammates kind of always do that. I had like the personality to do something
Yeah,
in
yeah.
this realm. I don't know. My goal down the future is to hopefully be like a soccer host or something. I don't know, soming in soccer.
Sure,
And
yeah.
then,
I mean,
Hit up
don't
Lifetime.
don't you dare take any of our jobs.
Yeah, no. You better not.
Guys,
All right.
subscribe to my podcast.
You're all-
Yeah, her
good at-
podcast is called The Cooligans. I swear it is.
You're good at soccer and you good at personality. Like, no, you can't have
You
everything.
have too much. Christian, good on the Colombian national team.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
All
Put
right.
a wig on.
Got some cupid uppies right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not training. I'm really letting the show down.
Yeah. Jesus. We got no
but
competition out here.
we're absolutely proud of you and commend you.
Thanks.
And
An
it's
honor to finally get you on the show. We've
I
been friends for so
know.
long.
Yes,
It's-
we have
seriously.
a couple questions just to wrap up, but one of them that we have to ask is because this has been a running theme on the show, and you do have mate right there. What is what do you call a straw in Spanish? Answer the question. What do you call it?
Now, hold on a second. Remember,
I got it.
Hold
I
on.
got
No,
it.
wait. Before you answer it,
I'm about to laugh
just
now.
remember you live near a bunch of Cubans, okay? Your whole life. Help us out a little bit here.
So in Colombia, you call it un pitillo.
Okay.
But like my boyfriend's from Puerto Rico, and he's like, "What the fuck is a pitillo?" When he went to Colombia,
Yeah.
and he's like, he once asked, he's like, "Hola, me regalas un pipillo," like a pipillo. I'm like, did you really
So
fucking just say pee with a yo at the end? I'm like, no.
Por favor.
Yeah.
Un pipillo. That's not what Puerto Ricans call it, though.
No,
No.
pitillo in Colombia.
Yeah.
I don't know. I forget what Puerto Rico.
Colombia is,
Absorbente.
Puerto Ricans call it sorbeto, I believe.
Yes.
But okay, well, the ones near me called it absorbente. All right, you know what? That's it. It's absorbente. All right, look, we're communists now. Let us have something. You know what I mean?
So, Melissa, we are grateful that you came on the show. Thank you so much for hopping on.
Thank you.
Where
Having
can
me.
people follow you? What can people look out for? You do a show on Instagram as well. Tell the fans about
Yeah,
that.
my Instagram is Melissa Ortiz 5, and that's where I do my weekend preview, which I do most weekends or weekdays prior to
Yeah.
the weekend soccer games.
Okay.
Why did I just have trouble saying that?
It's okay. Too much
Anyways,
mate.
Yeah, I'm like energy.
Because your brain is punishing you for not saying absorbente. That's what it is.
Yeah, so I'm Melissa Ortiz 5. I do the Soccer Blogger weekend preview. I have the website, thesoccerblogger.com, where I post those videos. And I just started writing like kind of bloggy articles around soccer. So I just did one really recently about the NWSL draft.
Cool.
So I'm just going to try to do more blogs more
Yeah, yeah.
often. And then I'll post some training videos, like at the soccer field, maybe some training tips, stuff like that. Everything around soccer lifestyle, something
Nice.
that makes
Well, if you're
us
ever looking
happy.
to play a pickup game, we have a soccer team.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
That's right.
We have a soccer team.
Semi-pro.
It's co-ed.
Yeah.
And it would be so it's a comedian soccer team. It's only comedians, but you have a great personality, and you made me laugh a couple times. I'm like, you're on the team.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I feel
made it.
honored.
We're smiling, so you're on. I do not play
Okay.
because I'm smarter than that. I feel like walking, I would pull my ACL.
Yeah.
Hit
Oh,
the
wait,
ground.
he just said pull my
Dude,
ACL.
what do you do? You pop it?
You tear it.
You tear it?
You pull a muscle. You tear a ligament.
You think I know any of this? I got plantar fasciitis. I asked the doctor, how'd I get it? I can't walk. He's like, well, you're fat. True story. He's like, I hate to tell you
So
this.
if we ever
Look
need
down.
a crazy ringer on the team, there's an
Cool.
open invitation.
Also,
down, I'm
I would love to film that as you just get in position. Stop checking Instagram. What are you doing?
Stop refreshing your Instagram.
Yeah.
But Melissa, you just do great work, and make sure
Thank
you
you.
follow her on Instagram and check out her
Thanks
work.
for
Melissa
having me.
Ortiz 5. Get on that.
Melissa, when we wrap up every show, we usually do a fun little outro. It'll make all the sense in the world when we do it. So
Okay.
just
You'll
join
know
in.
exactly
All
what
right.
to do when we do it.
Join in.
Do I need to get warmed up for this?
No,
you
not
know,
at all.
we yell the Cooligans, and it's like a
Okay.
Yeah,
fun
but
thing.
you'll know exactly
You'll know
when and how to
exactly
do
when
it.
to do it.
All right.
So, for Melissa Ortiz, my name is Christian Polanco.
And I'm Alexis Guerreros.
And together, what are we?
the Cooligans!
What's up? It's the world champion, Judah Friedlander, and you're watching the Cooligans. Why? Because you're cool. This is what winners look like right here, man.
I mean, you're looking at us.
Right now with my legs, I just juggled the ball 80,000 times.
You missed it.
Yeah.
He's been playing keepy uppy since I met him.
Yep, look faster, guys.
Go Team USA.